Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fourth edition of the African Youth and Sustainable Development Roundtable discussion. This is hosted by the Lady Be Blessed Humanitarian Foundation alongside Bright Light Project. And we bring these discussions annually for the same reason, just to have a dialogue with the youths. So I'm just going to give a little background about the roundtable discussion, and then we could go into our host, Franco, as he explained a little more about what this is all about. We know that Africa has the fastest and largest growing youth population. This was counted in 2015. African youths constitute about 19% of the global youth population, with 264 million youths aged 15 to 24. So by 2030, it is projected that the youths in Africa will have increased by 42%. And by 2055, these numbers are projected to double. But many of the African continents cannot handle this rapid growth of the youth population. The youths are struggling with challenges not limited to unemployment, lack of skills, quality and relevant education, healthcare, immigration, and migration. So it leaves a greater proportion of the youths in Africa that have no opportunity at all to fully develop their potential. And also this leads to poverty. How are we going to alleviate this poverty using the Sustainable Development Goals? As you know, the roundtable discussion is here to help give the youths a voice, to help them, give them a platform for them to discuss these issues. The African Youth and Sustainable Development Roundtable discussion is a platform for young African entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs to network and share knowledge and opportunities to collaborate on key economical and social issues, driving the local actions towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. Welcome once again to the fourth annual African Youth and Sustainable Development Roundtable. I give the floor now to Franco from Bright Light Projects.
Thank you so much, Lady B, for that wonderful piece. It's always interesting to see a sister from the Guyana talk with so much passion about the motherland, because we always say, no matter where you find yourself, so long as you are Black, you are African. I'm going to start here with the mission of the African Youths and Sustainable Development Roundtable. This is a simple platform where we try to connect African entrepreneurs, young African entrepreneurs, young African socialpreneurs, so they can share opportunities and harness the capabilities and push them to their creative boundaries, for them to be able to tell the people of Africa that no matter how you ignore us, we are and we should be the most important tool in the transformative process in Mother Africa. What is the outcome of these decisions? So many people have asked. As we go along, we are on the fourth edition. We are putting together a position paper that will be presented to the African Union and most of African missions and embassies overseas, to tell them that this is what the youth think could be done in order to transform Africa. Now, would they look at it? It is up to them, but at least we have made our voices heard. From Imo State in Nigeria, one of our distinguished panelists, Hadi Nwadike Chinedu. Hadi is a social media enthusiast, a TV and a radio presenter. Hadi is an author of 3 books, founder of Old Town G's Media and Entertainment, He is the founder also of Child Inc. Africa and Diva Stage Stores. Hadi, we welcome you to the 4th edition of the African Youths and Sustainable Development Platform.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Franco. Thank you so much, Lady B, and my fellow panelists. I really appreciate this opportunity to speak on this important issue concerning African youths. So I'm really looking forward to it unfolding.
Thank you, Harry. From Imo State in Nigeria, we move all the way to Banjul in the Gambia. 22-year-old Fatoumatou Dahaba, a university student currently doing a diploma in human rights and conflict management, also pursuing a degree in economics, banking, and finance from the University of the Gambia. Fatoumatou is founder of Aspiration Youth Foundation with a mission to spark new ideas, foster creative innovation, and develop engagement in leadership and communities through mentorship and coaching. Please help me welcome Fatoumatou Dahaba from the Gambia to the 4th African Youth and Sustainable Development Platform. Welcome, Fatoumatou.
Thank you very much, and I'm saying hi to everyone, and I'm looking for a good conversation with you guys.
That's great. Thank you, Fatoumatou. Fatoumatou, looks like your video is not showing. Little bit, can you see her video?
No, her video is off.
Okay, so please put on your video, Fatoumatou. The audience.
Yeah, okay, no problem.
Yeah, the audience would like to see you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Next, all the way from the western province of Cameroon, Gail Marius Tsaffo, a biochemist, a gerontologist, a scientific license in clinical biochemistry, master's in pharmacology and biochemistry, presently pursuing a PhD in biochemistry at the University of Chang. Member of the Cameroon Red Cross and a fellow member of the Lady B SDGs Ambassadors Club. Marius, soyez le bienvenu. Thank you. We are most distinguished to have you on our platform today.
Oui, merci beaucoup, Monsieur Franco. Merci beaucoup, Lady B. Thank you very much, Franco. Thank you very much, Lady B, and all the panelists. And it's a real pleasure for me to be on this platform to express all I know, all I think about our motherland Africa. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Marius. All the way from Harare in Zimbabwe, I present to you Trivashe Truman Marinda, Director of Zircon, an environmental conservation organization with the focus on desire to address energy, poverty, food insecurity through agroforestry and regenerative agriculture, water conservation, and halting biodiversity loss. Please help me welcome Trivashe Truman Marinda from Zimbabwe.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. It's a pleasure to be on this platform to share what we think can take the idea forward and make Africa great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm very happy.
And thank you so much, sir. You are most welcome. Again from the Gambia, Sulayman Darboe, a community-driven civic leader with years of experience in community development, CEO of Ethical Youth Leadership Hub in the Gambia, a youth-led body primarily focusing on capacity building of youth children on ethical values, principles, and behaviors, and creating awareness through seminars, symposium, community outreach, and radio programs. Please help me, Sulayman Darboe from the Gambia.
Check your mic.
Sulayman, are you there?
You need to unmute yourself. We're still not hearing you, so you need to check. Let's move on until he checks and double check his mic.
Great. From Freetown, Sierra Leone, please meet Admiral Khanu, CEO of Young Women and Girls Network, with a mission to help bring young women and girls together in different communities, empower and promote them through creative ideas and talent. Young Women Network has been interrogating and collecting data that has been circulating in teenage pregnancy and sexual abuse. Please help me from Freetown, Admiral Khanu.
Hello. Good afternoon. Thank you so much. I appreciate Mrs. Lady B. Thank you, and my fellow panelists. I'm open to meet everyone and share different ideas. Thank you.
And thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to have you. And greetings all the way from the panelists and from our organizers. Next, from Maryland in the United States, born and bred in Nigeria, please meet Noblin Ogbonna, a doctoral candidate in pediatric medicine and surgery at Berry University School of Pediatric Medicine, as well as an MPH candidate at George Washington University. Noblin is co-founder of Igbo Amaka Cultural Institute, an educational institute that promotes Igbo language and implements the language in American colleges, as well as provide translation services to many establishments. She is the CEO of SDG 3 Global Health Initiative, which is affiliated with the UNESCO Center for Peace, currently in partnership to train youths across the globe on essential health skills to become health advocates in various communities. Please help me welcome from Maryland, Noblin Ogbonna.
Thank you. Thank you so much for an incredible introduction. Thank you, Franco. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're calling in from, to my fellow panelists. And I am honored to be here to discuss with every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Noblin. Next, all the way from Freetown, meet Samuel Laverse, DJ Lawva, radio presenter and DJ working for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM in Sierra Leone. Samuel works as radio presenter and DJ for over 15 years, led many organizations and have served as a volunteer with Sierra Leone Red Cross Society, and is a recipient of the Edinburgh's National Youth Award Scheme. DJ Lawva, welcome to this platform.
Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome everyone to the 4th African Youth and Sustainable Roundtable discussion. And I'm happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to a healthy discussion that we can make Africa a better place for all youth.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And myself, my name is Franco Bonghan. I'm the Executive Director for Bright Light Projects and one of your organizers. I will let Lady B Bless, our Empress, introduce herself as well.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone that has a locked in. Some of you guys already know me, are familiar with my foundation, the Lady Be Blessed Humanitarian Foundation. We work in Ghana at the moment, but we are looking to extend beyond Ghana in the future. What we are known for right now is teaching the SDG goal along with Bright Light Project. We have already graduated over 600 students from our SDG class. We have over 180 SDG ambassadors. as well as we are forming the SDG Ambassador Association to move forward after COVID-19. I'm very honored to have you guys here today to share this discussion, to share this dialogue, and get it open for the African youth to have a voice. We have over 10 people watching right now, and that is a wonderful thing. We're going to see if our guest speaker is available to come on before we move on.
I think our guest speaker, I think he said he should be ready like in the next 15 minutes or so. 15
minutes. Okay, can anyone here give me an understanding of the SDGs?
So, before we go there,
okay.
I think the first thing we would want to do here is look at the fact that, you know, what are the SDGs and how far have they developed Africa so far? And what are some of the issues that the youths are actually getting involved in order to maximize leverage themselves either with the government or with the private sector in order to be have a good representation of the Sustainable Development Goals? So let me go ahead.
Okay, what we have observed is that with COVID, and we cannot talk without mentioning COVID because it's what's going on right now for the last year, and they project that it will continue for the next year and a half. So we're looking at 2022 before we are where we'll never be totally COVID free, but by 2022, they're saying it wouldn't be as severe as it is today. When the SDGs was put in place in 2015 by the United Nations, they picked 17 particular goals to make it a better world for 2030, until 2030. So the sustainable development is important to the African youth because they are the driving force right now of the African economy. What happened this year is that because of COVID, it pushed all of the progress that the goals made at least 3 years behind. So now we have an increase in poverty. We have an increase of girl child not getting education. So there is a lot of things that the African youth now have on their shoulders as pertain to the goals. What we want to do is rally those African youths who have a voice in their community to become stronger advocates for the goals so we could push forward after COVID-19.
Thank you, Lady Be Blessed. The Mo Ibrahim Foundation actually identified 2 key issues that are primarily responsible for the slow progress of the Sustainable Development Goals. Those 2 issues are, number 1, security and the rule of law, and participation in human rights and youth inclusion. So my first question goes to Hadi Nwadike from Imo State. So when we talk about participation, human rights, and inclusion, we are talking about SDG number 16, which addresses peace, justice, and strong institutions. So Mr. Hadi, we recently saw the wave of the EndSARS movement in Nigeria. My question to you is, do you think the EndSARS movement has been a failure from the government to engage the youth, both at a civil level and at the national level? And what do you think has been some gains so far with the EndSARS movement for the Nigerian youth?
Okay, thank you, Franco. When you look at the EndSARS movement critically, one thing you just get there is, for the first time, Nigerian youths came together to speak with one voice, and that was a lovely thing for most of us down here. Most people will not really understand the magic that happened with EndSARS. At some point, we got to understand that if we come together and ask for something, we can really get it. Now, looking at what gave birth to EndSARS movement, you talk about total neglect from the side of the government. NSAS movement, the one we got to hear about a few months ago, is not the first time there has been NSAS protest. 2 years ago, a year ago, every single year there has been NSAS protest because the SARS issue has been there. But the problem is most times politicians use SARS so they can't stop it because they benefit from it. So people who are supposed to make changes are actually benefiting from whatever thing you call the abnormalities in the society. So it's a problem for them to actually say, let's make changes. Now, on the side of what NSAS achieved, you look at, we have exposed certain things. Nigerian youths were able to, for the first time, ask for something and get it. But that is not the end of the entire thing because, yeah, SARS has been disbanded. We are looking at police reformation and a whole lot of things. And then there is the use of force on Nigerian youth. And to today, there's been an investigation and nothing has really been said. Now, that's the issue. When you look at how they treat the youth especially, it's a huge issue because there is no transparency, there is no respect for the youth. You know, people you say are leaders of tomorrow, you don't treat them with respect. When they are in trouble, there is nothing like justice for them. So politicians can decide to say anything about it. So it's a huge issue. Now, looking on the side of having peace around the world, for Africa, situations like that are huge issues because I always tell some of my friends, I say, if we have peace, if we have justice, there are some people who have power today that will lose it. There are some people who are very rich today that will be very poor because they cannot thrive in a peaceful society. It's only when there is conflict, it's only when there is corruption, it's only when there are abnormalities, that's the only time these people can succeed. That's the only time they can make money. So as long as those people have power, I don't see Africa going anywhere. Whatever idea you bring, they can help you do it for the cameras. But at the end of the day, when you want to really implement the policies that will change the continent, they won't. Just like you said earlier in your introductory part, that will prepare a paper, it will be on them to implement, but it will be that will have ended up making a statement. So a lot of statements have been made, but the issue is the people that will implement it, the moment they implement, they are going to lose a whole lot of things. So they won't. Thank you.
Thank you, Harry. Thank you so much, Harry. So if I understand you very well, the NSAS movement did not start today. The NSAS movement has actually given the voice to the Nigerian youth, but the question still goes back to our old practice. Will the government be able to respect the will of the people? Thank you so much. I'm going to move over to Noblin, SDG 3, good health and well-being. So Noblin, as I see you doing a lot of work when it comes to the healthcare systems, trying to see how you can leverage the power of the diaspora healthcare in also helping our local people on the ground in Nigeria. My question to you is, I have seen for over 25 years, every year from the diaspora, we take medical missions to Africa, to our villages, 2 weeks, 1 month, and we come back. But the situation on the ground has never changed. So my question to you, Noblin, do you think it is time for the diaspora to rethink its strategy when it comes to medical missions and move into doing something more practical that will actually impact the people on the ground on a long-term basis?
Thank you, Frank, for that question. Once again, thanks for the invitation. I think when it comes to health, and this is the reason why it happens to be one of the SDGs. In my whole experience of promoting the SDGs and promoting changes in Nigeria, I came to understand that we don't emphasize on health quite a lot. We don't talk about it. There are so many non-communicable and communicable diseases that we do not create awareness about. And that's because we always keep health care at the back bench of, the whole progression, whatever progression means in everybody's country. When the EndSARS thing happened in Nigeria, there were a little bit of changes that both the local, the state, and the federal government was trying to make with the whole thing, because I felt like the EndSARS opened a whole narrative and pathway to so many things. It was just the gateway to so many things. And in those changes, I discovered that revamping the healthcare system in Nigeria wasn't one of the changes that they wanted to make. And it also happens that this happens everywhere, every country. My organization in particular, we work with different people from different countries. And I always realize that when it comes to implementing changes, healthcare is always kept at the back bench. So to answer your question, I just don't think that it is only the sole responsibility of the healthcare givers in diaspora. We are in diaspora. There is much we can do. If we leave our work to move back to Africa, we would not continue to regain the educational knowledge that we get, right? So what we do is we acquire the knowledge and we go back home and implement it. Now there's something about consistency. On the part of those in diaspora who go from year to year for medical mission, I think it's all about consistency, making sure that whatever they've planted in there continues to grow. Now, the bigger responsibility is the healthcare management and the healthcare team in those countries. We've had so many situations where some of us have gone to medical missions in Nigeria. I speak from Nigeria in particular because that's where I was born and raised before I came to the US. And that's where I've done quite some things. And we, after 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we come back to the US, we realize that the people that we worked with, the healthcare givers that we worked with in Nigeria doesn't follow up. Average patient comes to the hospital and the doctor sees the patient and the patient doesn't come again because the doctor did not ask the patient to come back again. And even if the doctor does, the patient is probably not ready to go back because he or she has to make another payment. To come to the consistency that I was talking about, the local government, the state government, the federal government has a role to play, because the people who are leaving the diaspora to come yearly to help, there is just little they can do because it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month maximum, they are back to their base, maybe UK or US. But the consistency is on the part of those who are back home to make sure that everything, every knowledge that they've been impacted upon, every training that they've been given, that they continue to train and they continue to follow up. Make sure that you continue the communication with those people here, not just whenever we have to come back to Nigeria or Uganda, you have to now try to keep in touch. Make sure you constantly keep in touch. If we go to a medical mission in Uganda, for instance, if I see a little child, I want you to keep talking about that little child. I want to know, follow up about that little child. And also the community leaders in particular has to play a role. So it's not just about the people going back to giving back, because it's called giving back. It's not, the responsibility is doesn't just fall on them. It also falls on the ones back home, because at the end of the day, they are the ones that actually are going to be staying in that environment. They are the ones that are staying with those patients. They are the ones that would change, work towards the change of revamping the healthcare system. I'm very passionate when I come to healthcare system, because I think if there's something that COVID has taught us, is that we are way behind when it comes to promoting healthcare and good well-being. So to answer your question and to summarize, for time's sake, I just don't think it's the sole responsibility of people that are going back to give back. It is the responsibility of every single one in the community as much as those going back home to give back.
Thank you so much, Noblin. So if I got from you, the community engagement is one. They must be able to assume the responsibility and be able to make use of whatever resources that have been placed to them to build and buttress the healthcare system. And number two, consistency in our medical missions. Number three, follow up. Wow. Next question, thank you. Next question goes to Admiral Khanu. One of the things, and it will go to SDG number 5, gender equality. I see you're doing a lot of work with the Young Women and Girls Network in Sierra Leone. I want to congratulate you on that. Two things. I see the government of Sierra Leone has kind of made away with one of the most repressive laws, the law that when a boy gets a girl pregnant, the boy stays in school and then the girl is fired from school. But I think the president kind of overturned that law. I was so happy when I read about that. And also, I also hear about the Hands Off Our Girls movement. In your opinion, what do you think that the present government has done so far in terms of recognizing and trying to close the gender gap in Sierra Leone?
Are you muted? You may have to unmute your mic.
Ms. Khanu, are you there?
Is it TechnoSpark 4?
Yeah, TechnoSpark 4, correct.
Okay, she's already unmuted. Maybe she's not there.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, there she is. There she is. There you go. Go ahead.
Okay, Admira, did you get my question?
No.
You did not get my question?
No.
Okay.
I did not.
Okay. My question is SDG number 5, which talks about gender equality. I was so happy when I learned about the fact that the president overturned the law, which says when a boy gets a girl pregnant, the boy stays in school and the girl is sent back home. And also, we hear about the First Lady's initiative of Hands Off Our Girls. Do you think the current government is doing enough to try to close that gender gap, being that gender equality is one of the biggest social issues facing Sierra Leone? Can you hear me?
I think we've lost her again.
We lost her again?
I believe so.
Okay, so let's move.
She's totally logged off now, Franco. So let's move on to the next speaker.
Wait, DJ Lawva, SDG number 8 talks about decent work and economic growth. I've seen you over the years work so much with so many youth organizations. You even run a program on democracy, FM 98.1, where you simply encourage and spark those creative instincts in the youths in Sierra Leone. My question to you is, do you think there exist ample opportunities for the youth in Sierra Leone for them to be able to be part of the transformative process in terms of economic growth?
Yeah, thank you very much, Franco. And first of all, I think for me, I see there are lots of opportunities for youth in Sierra Leone to expand economic growth. But one thing, again, I would say, we should not leave everything to government. If we want these SDGs to work, it should not only be the responsibility for the government, because that's been the problem with Africa. We always look up to government, what government has to do for us. Like, for example, we're talking about youths now in Sierra Leone. The space is there. You are not going to wait for the opportunities to come and meet you. You have to go and look for opportunities. For example, in Sierra Leone, we have lots and lots of youths that are graduates from universities, but most of our problem with our youth is everybody wants white tie collar job to go to the office, sit there and make this big money. But what about, for example, you are an engineering student at the university. What project did you do when you're doing your final year? What invention, what creativity part have you put in your engineering that you can come and be self-reliant? We should not be looking all the time, okay, government has to provide the space. Like, for example, in Sierra Leone here, I could say I would commend the government because they're doing, trying to make sure the youths are able to have the opportunities. Like, for example, there's a whole commission for youth that the government has established to work in line with the Ministry of Youth. And most recently, the Youth Commission just did with the president himself, has to go and launch the youth in farming, youth in fishing, where the government provide fishing boats for youth, where they give them the boats, they go out, and later they will pay back, and that money that they're going to reimburse, they will again do some other boats to give to other youths. But now, most youths will be there and they don't have the opportunity, maybe the finance to do it. But with your creative mind, you can create the space for yourself and make sure you're able to help contribute towards the sustainable goals in terms of development. Because there are so many things that government has to do. Like, for example, the SDGs, there are 17 goals. Government has to make sure they take care of all these goals equally to make sure by 2030 they're able to achieve. So they are not going to only look at only the youths, but for some of us youths, like for me, I studied economics, but I'm not sitting at the office, say I want a white collar job that I'm going to go from 8 to 5 in the evening. I'm involved in so many creative things. Like, for example, I'm qualified in performing arts, I'm a DJ, I'm a consultant. So it's a way for myself as a youth to make sure I go out there, have other opportunities that will make me able to sustain myself. Because the too much dependence on government, that's the main problem in Africa. That's, of course, every time we have to blame the government is not providing for us. But what are you doing for yourself? There is a saying which says, instead of you give fish to an individual, you have to go and teach the individual to go and catch fish. My only problem with the government is that part. I think what government needs to do is create the opportunities for technical and vocational institutes in Africa. Let's forget about all these university thing. It's good, but for example, if a doctor has a problem with his car, who is going to do that car? It's an engineering student. But if all of us want to go and want to be doctor, want to be accountant and all these things, who's going to take care of the other things? If you want to get your furniture and fittings in your house, who's going to do it? So there is this space. It's just for us, the youth, to go out there and make sure we're able to tap in some of those opportunities and make sure we contribute in our own way to make sure we achieve these goals.
Thank you so much, DJ Lava. I think you have hit one key point, and Lady B, chime in on this. DJ Lava has talked about the fact that for the SDGs to succeed, it's not just the responsibility of the government, it is also the responsibility of the local people. Because most often what I find out in Africa is that although we have a huge youth unemployment situation, there's also what we call structural unemployment, where youths don't want to dirty themselves. Right. Even when you bring these opportunities to some youths, they still think like, government still has to give them a handout. So let it be.
Yeah. And one thing I love about the SDG is that it's a local achievable goal. The Millennium Development Goal was more of a governmental achievement goal. It was left up to the government to achieve these goals. In 2015, when they came with the Sustainable Development Goals, they brought it to the grassroots levels. So the local participants are the ones that will drive these goals. It's not up to the government. It is up to us on the ground, in our communities, in our region, to hold meetings, to educate ourselves. When I started educating people about the goal, I was quite surprised the type of people I was getting. These were farmers, people on the ground. And that's the beauty of the SDG. As DJ Lawva said, it's not up to the government to feed you. You have to feed yourself. Once you get up every day, you have to realize it doesn't matter who is in your government. You still have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of your family, and you have to make sure that you eat each and every day. What are you doing? What seeds are you planting as an individual, as a youth person? And the seed you plant today will be the tree that shade your ancestors, your family in the future. So we have to start planting these SDGs. So by 2030, we will have a better environment for those to come.
Thank you so much, Lady B. Thank you so much. That is something we always have to highlight. The African youth have to take responsibility and be and nurture within their own space. And that is why this is a platform for us to identify those individuals who are trying to do something positive in their community. We network, we spark in them the idea that, you can continue to do more, because it's not just the government, it's us, it's me, and it's you. Next, I'm gonna move all the way to Harare in Zimbabwe. Trivashe, Truman, Marinda. And we're gonna talk about affordable and clean energy, SDG number 7. So, Mr. Marinda, as a leader in the environmental conservation, energy, poverty, food insecurity through agroforestry and regenerative agriculture, what has been the contribution so far of the Zimbabwean youth? Because what we realize across Africa is the fact that the youth of Africa, they don't want to roll off their sleeves and dirty their hands. Youth want to marry the computer and not marry the farms. So what, in your opinion, are the youths of Zimbabwe doing in order to solve these issues of food self-sufficiency?
Hello, everybody. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Franco. I will talk about environment. Firstly, I want to talk about the environment, how we managed to achieve what we have achieved so far. We have got an organization, our organization called Zero Contrast. We into environment. We try to fight climate change, and we used our strategy, which was a bit unique, but it really worked very hard for us. The first thing we did was to go back to the communities. We engaged the local people, we engaged the churches, and then we engaged the traditional leaders. We used the spiritual convictions and the religious beliefs of the people to solve the environmental issues. So in doing so, we achieved, and everybody is engaged, he has got a part to play in the environment, because a lot of people in Africa, especially in Africa, a lot of people, they do respect their church leaders, they do respect their traditional leaders. So you cannot be someone who does climate change when you are based in towns or in cities. You need to go back to the ground, you need to go back to the community. So as Zero Contrast, we moved back to the communities, and then we engaged the youth. In doing so, we started teaching the youth that you cannot only dwell on your education. You need to come back to the ground and do what needs to be done. Because a lot of people, they think that education is the only way for them to earn a better living. What needs to be done is to go back to the basics, and then you start doing what needs to be done. And as for us, we think and we believe And we are seeing that a lot of youths, they are being helped from our activities of planting trees. We plant trees, and then we also teach the youth, the communities, the churches, how to farm, which methods of farming which are needed right now. Because for us in Africa, a lot of people, they are doing the traditional ways of farming, which proved to be a failure. And if we continue to do the same traditional methods, we are going to fail. So in achieving this, in harnessing climate change, we engaged the local people, and this is working. Of ending poverty, what I believe is the same as what DJ Laverse was saying, that the African youth, they believe that you need to get a job for you to earn a living. You need to go to the government to give you a job. But across the globe, across the world, all over the world, governments do not have jobs. And that's one thing that I've realized, that governments do not have jobs. We need to create the jobs for ourselves. So I think there is need for platforms where people are taught to think for themselves, because we have gone under years and years of like indoctrination, that for you to earn a living, you need to go to school, get a degree, and then look for a job. But there are a lot of opportunities, a lot of things that people can do. One funny thing, a lot of us here, we have got a lot of things in our houses which are worth thousands and thousands of dollars, but we don't know it. If you go and sell those things, you get money, and then you can start something for your own. So I believe that we need to decolonize our minds. That's the first step, to believe that you can do it on yourself without the government being involved, right? And across Africa, the governments are not doing their part in supporting the youth, because what I see, it looks like the youth are always left outside, but they are the leaders of tomorrow. So imagine what is going to happen in the future if the same youth who are being left out today, they don't know how things are done. When they get to the edge where they need to take the position, they need to take the power, what are they going to do? How are they going to tackle the issues when they don't know, when they were never involved in leadership positions at early stages? So I think the government needs to address the issue of youth and involve them in any development plans, in anything. The youth must be there so that we can have a better leaders in the future. And then, for the sake of time, let me move on to the other aspect that I think needs to be dealt with. It's education. Our education system across Africa, I think it's outdated. I think the education is outdated. What we are learning today doesn't help us, doesn't equip us with the necessary tools which we need to develop Africa.
Yes, yes, so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Marinda. I can also see that Zircon has planted over 3,000 woodlots throughout the Mashivengo province in the 7 districts. 10 nurseries totaling 5 million tree seedings since the invigoration of the organization. That is very impressive. And these are, Lady B, I wanted to chime in. These are the kind of results we want to have on this platform.
Yes, yes. That's very commendable. And when I read about it, I was so proud. I think this young man has been following me on social media for a very long time. So I was very proud to see his progress, and I commend you. I'm extremely proud of what you're doing as such a young person in Zimbabwe. I used to work in Zimbabwe over 10 years ago. So I'm very familiar with the government and the climate in Zimbabwe and how hard it is for the youths. And to see a young man taking the bull by the horn, as we say, and actually making a difference is commendable. So Truman, definitely, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. And thank you, Truman. Once again, welcome all of you, our panelists. You're viewing from around the world, from Harare to Freetown from Johannesburg to Cape Verde, from the Seychelles to Djibouti, from Jamena to Yaoundé. This is live, the 4th African Youth and Sustainable Development Roundtable. Here we bring solutions because we know the youth of Africa are an integral part and they should champion the transformative process in Africa. Next, I'm going to move to Gail Marius, all the way from Cameroon. We will talk about SDG number 10. We talk about reducing inequalities. Marius, one of the critics of the SDGs is that they say the SDGs do not address inequalities, income disparities between the poor nation and the rich nations. For example, in Djibouti, the problem of clean water in Djibouti may not be the same problem of clean water in the city of London. How then do you tell me that the Sustainable Development Goals should apply equally across this disenfranchised economic strata? Do you think that the SDGs needs to be revised? And do you agree that the SDG do not take into account inequalities?
Okay, thank you, Franco. Thank you, Lady B and all the panelists. Before we start, I would like to first say we are crossing a very difficult moment in Cameroon, where the insight and the English insight, that is already an inequality. Because here in Cameroon, we see that when the Northwest and the Southwest are not in good conditions with the government in total, but the French side is not having any problem with it. They continue to school. They continue to do all the things that they are doing, while the other ones are sleeping in bushes. So that is already an inequality that we are facing here in Cameroon. And concerning water, we will see that the same water that maybe we drink here in Yaoundé is not the same that we would drink maybe in Douala. Normally, I will just enter the medical field. We see that there is something that we call resistance. There are some things that we call resistance. That is when your body is already used to some things.
Marius, if you want to speak in French, that's fine. Africa is bilingual, Africa is diverse. If you want to speak in French, that's okay.
Ok, il n'y a pas de problème, merci. Bon, comme je disais, I just hope that my panelists will understand. Ok, comme je disais, ici au Cameroun, de l'eau qu'on boit peut-être à Yaoundé n'est pas la même eau qu'on boit peut-être à Douala. Mais il y a des problèmes quand l'organisme devient déjà habitué à quelque chose, cela ne crée plus de problème. Si par exemple, les enfants qui sont au village, dans les eaux où on retrouve le diamant, l'eau est tellement sale. Certaines personnes viennent prendre du diamant, mais en retour ne peuvent pas leur donner de l'eau potable. Et ces enfants continuent à boire ces eaux depuis des années et des années. Et ils n'ont pas de problème. Mais cela ne signifie pas que les ODD, les SDG, doivent les laisser comme ça. On doit chercher à leur donner de l'eau potable. Ce n'est pas parce qu'ils sont déjà habitués à boire, à en consommer sans avoir de problème qu'on va les laisser avec. Les ODD doivent chercher des moyens possibles avec le gouvernement pour leur donner de l'eau potable. Mais il est très désolant que nos gouvernements utilisent tout ce que de l'eau nous donne. Parce que quand ils viennent là, ils épuisent presque tout le minéral, ils épuisent tout, ils vendent, ils ont de l'argent, mais ils oublient les villages qui donnent de l'eau. Toujours ici au Cameroun, il y a par exemple des places où il y a bien de l'eau, il y a des sources d'eau, mais la ville en question n'a pas d'eau. La ville en question n'a pas d'eau, alors qu'il faut faire quelque chose. Donc, moi, je trouve que les SDG doivent faire tout et tout dans tous les pays. Monsieur Lawva a dit quelque chose que we should not leave everything to the government. But there is a problem. I also see that there is a problem there because quand, par exemple, un enfant a un truc à faire, un jeune entrepreneur, par exemple, décide de se lancer peut-être dans l'entrepreneurship, le gouvernement vient avec les taxes et les pousse peut-être à fermer, alors que par là, ils pouvaient manger quelque chose, ils pouvaient avoir un peu d'argent pour nourrir les pauvres. Donc, je vois que le gouvernement, surtout ici en Afrique, ne fait pas son rôle pour protéger les citoyens. Donc, l'inégalité règne depuis fort longtemps. Les pauvres sont massacrés par les riches. Même entre les hommes et les femmes, c'est la même chose. Chez nous, ici, les hommes tabassent sur les femmes. Il y en a aussi d'autres tribus que je ne veux pas citer ici, dont les femmes tabassent sur les hommes, et vice-versa. Donc, les ODD, les SDG doivent faire quelque chose. Donc, on peut facilement changer avec le programme que je vois en train de se lever avec la diaspora africaine. Merci.
Thank you so much, Marius. Thank you so much, Marius. The reason I wanted you to talk in French because I know your audience back in Cameroon will be listening too. But what Marius is simply saying here is that you have, for example, in Africa, the villages where they mine minerals. Okay, the people who mine these minerals in these villages, they have been drinking dirty water for about 30 years. But the people who come from outside, they keep coming in, taking these minerals, but they never develop these villages. So how come can we talk about SDGs then if we are not addressing the fact that those who come to collect these minerals should have a social responsibility to develop these areas in which they're collecting the minerals. And he also supported the fact what DJ Lawva said, that it's not about the government, the youths too need to stand up and take responsibility. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Marius. We will come back to you on that. Lady B, do you have any interjection before we move ahead?
No, I want to check on the guest speaker.
Great. Check on him. While you're checking on him, let me move on to the next. We will talk about. Let's go to Sulayman Darboe. Sulayman, are you there? Mr. Sulayman Darboe, are you there?
Yes, I am there. I'm getting you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sulayman. So we will talk about SDG number 8, which talks about decent work and economic growth. I see you here. You're doing a lot of work on ethical youth leadership in the Gambia. My question to you is, what do you think the Gambian youth need most in order for them to be able to harness the power of their creativity? Is it the support from the government, or is it the support from the civil society?
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity, and I must apologize for definitely not speaking due to my mic during the introduction. Now, in trying to address your question, I must say for certainty that young people of the Gambia, to be precise, need empowerment. Youth of the Gambia need empowerment in the sense that, like one of the speakers said, most of the time, you may not probably have the opportunity as a government, even though it's mandatory on you to create as many jobs as possible. But why not you empower youth of your country to be empowered, be innovative, and bring up new jobs, that will help to ensure that the society benefits. So I think this is important, and I believe young people of the Gambia, without exception, just like any other African country, needs empowerment. The government needs to empower them financially. They need financial empowerment. They need vocational training. That is one of the most important sectors that I would even want to talk about. Vocational training centers are needed in not only the Gambia, but throughout Africa. Africa needs vocational training centers to ensure that African young people are developed, to ensure that they are gone with necessary skills that will enable them to, live in a decent life that will enable them to live, have an improved livelihood. I mean, without this, we are going to live in an environment, in a society that is going to be very, very unpeaceful. Why do I say that? When there are limited opportunities, there is pressure, competition is increased. And in the event that there is competition for jobs, that bring up, adversities among us, that bring up challenges among us. So it is important that the governments across Africa to empower their youthful population. This is going to help. This is what will ensure that young people take ownership of their countries, because they will realize that financially the governments stand for them, to ensure that there is economic growth. And another aspect that I want to talk about, perhaps governments in Africa, not only the Gambia, should take another direction, a direction that will lead to a developed agricultural sector. I think across all African countries, to be specified in the Gambia, we have arable land. I sometimes wonder what stops our governments from investing in agriculture. To some extent, countries will say agriculture is the backbone, and that agriculture provides a lot of revenue for the country, for the government. But it is very difficult and sad to realize that to some extent, such supports are not rendered as expected. So I am with the conviction that young people in the country, in the Gambia, if they are given support, as it is clearly evidenced, we have youth who are in the agricultural sectors, who have their own farms, who are doing gardening, all these initiatives that young people in the country, the Gambia to be precise, are taking up to ensure that there is economic growth to an improved agricultural sector. But the government still needs to invest. The government needs to do a lot. Why not the government come up with initiatives like giving awards to successful farmers, successful youths who are doing tremendously well in the agricultural sector, to ensure that these young people feel motivated, appreciated for the efforts that they are putting. That is really lacking. Africa needs to change the focus that they take. This is, across all sectors. Looking at our hospitals, we are facing challenges. You go to a particular hospital, you cannot find medicines there. The only thing that you can do, they can do for you is to write a piece of paper, that is more like a trust to indicate, the drugs that you need to buy. You go to a pharmacy and buy them. So this is the challenge that we are facing. And I must challenge policymakers, governments, to realize that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Darboe. If I understood you well, there is a need for the government to encourage and engage the youth in the Gambia and across Africa, so they could be able to tap into their creative instincts and be able to provide for their families and for their communities. Thank you so much on that. And also, it does not only rest with the government, the youths need to be able to roll up their sleeves and dirty their hands if we want a true transformative process in Africa. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the 4th African Youth and Sustainable Development Platform, I am more than honored to introduce to you one of Africa's most illustrious sons, one of the most pragmatic leaders I've seen in my lifetime, one of the most dialectic leaders that Africa needs. I always say, if we don't listen to him, then we have no other way to listen to. Let me introduce to you Barrister Arrey Obenson, Chief Executive Officer and partner of Transformunity, a consulting firm that harnesses the opportunities of corporations and organizations to transform the world. Mr. Arrey Obenson served as the JCI Secretary General. He occupied various positions in JCI for 17 years, including Director for Africa and the Middle East, Executive Director and Deputy Secretary General. Mr. Obenson actively engages actors from all sectors of society, business, government, and the civil society to identify their opportunities and develop strategies to achieve growth. Mr. Obenson is a motivating and engaging speaker who is frequently invited to speak in audiences across the world. Please permit me today, I am most distinct to bring on board our key note speaker in the person of Barrister Arrey Obenson. Thank you, Barrister.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Franco, for that introduction. Much appreciated. I joined in a few minutes ago because I was on another conversation, and I just couldn't miss being here with the young people because this is where the future lies. Let me just start by saying 60 years ago, young people like yourself had a dream. They had a big dream. Their dream was to build a continent that was free, that was independent, a continent in which every child that was born had access to good quality education, to drinking water. They had read books, they had traveled the world, they had seen the West, they had seen the East, and they dreamed of an Africa that was different from the reality that they were facing. But they were young, they were ill-equipped, they were school teachers, they were bookkeepers, not to even say accountants. They were just ordinary people who had this extraordinary dream of an independent Africa. The odds against them was insurmountable. To think, just the imagination of trying to get independent was just something that was novel, that couldn't have been imagined at the time. But these young people, they stuck to their dreams. They imagined something that wasn't, and then they made it happen. In one country after another, we have the honor today of bowing to the flags of this beautiful, diverse continent because of the courageous acts of young people like yourself. They dreamed it, they realized it. And then it came upon us Africans to build on that dream. So if we went back to the Kwame Nkrumahs and Tom Mboyas and the Amadou Ahidjos and of the world and the Hofet Boyens, in their time, if they were to roam the earth today, would they say that their dream has been realized? Far from that accomplishment. Their dreams have not been realized, but they played their part. Too often, and I'll quote this, too often we enjoy the comfort of opinion. This is a quote from JFK. Too often we enjoy the comfort of opinion without the discomfort of thought. Again, too often we enjoy the comfort of opinion without the discomfort of thought. It is the comfort of opinion that tells us that Africa cannot be better than the United States, that Africa cannot be better than most of Europe. It is the comfort of opinion just that tells us that this continent is plagued with challenges, that poverty is just part of who we are, that corruption will always reign in our midst, and that's how society is going to be governed, that there would always be disease and malaria and all of this. That is the comfort of opinion. But what if we changed that? What if we had some discomfort in thought here? And that discomfort in thought lies in what these young people that fought for the independence of our countries gave us. They thought of a continent that could be different and that could be exemplary. I just finished writing a book that will be out now, and it's called Bridging the Opportunity Gap. And I really like to focus on the opportunities. And when I hear Africans speak most of the time, we speak from a position of challenge. We identify a lot more with the challenges that we face than the opportunities that are all around us. And when I look at that continent, what I see is opportunity rather than challenge. I also want to share this quote with you that this book that I've written is all based on, is that individuals, organizations, or corporations that focus on their challenges are defined by their challenges. Whilst individuals, organizations, or corporations that focus on their opportunities are defined by their opportunities. Of course, not to say there will not be challenges, but challenges is not what we are meant for. Opportunity is actually where growth lies. So I don't want to talk about addressing poverty in Africa. I want to create prosperity. And there is a fundamental difference in that. I don't want to talk about microfinancing. I want to talk about macrofinancing that builds the safety nets in society so that everybody can flourish. I don't just want to talk about providing healthcare to people. I want to build an infrastructure that prevents people falling sick in the first place. So let's focus on the opportunities that lie within the continent. And the opportunity of the continent, I can see it in the faces of each one of you that are on this call. You are Africa's biggest opportunity. And the mindset that you have about how you approach tomorrow is going to determine Africa's future. If you are hopeful and positive and not looking at solving Africa's problems from today, or waiting for somebody else to solve it, or waiting for government to solve it, or waiting for your neighbor, or waiting for your corporations to solve Africa's problem, no. You are the solution of Africa's problem, each one of us. And we may think that we're ill-equipped. We may think that we're small, that we don't have the capacity to do it. But my friends, we are Africa. We are the people who have the capacity. And I can relate back to the young people who dreamed of independence, where they were and how they imagined how helpless and incapable they were. And I can look at you today and see how powerful you are with the technology that you have in your hands, with the ability. We have the most educated class of young people in Africa, the most empowered technologically. Africa has never seen this amount of educated young people. But what are we going to do? It all lies in our hands. We can choose to be spectators in Africa's destiny, or we can choose to be actors. I choose to be an actor. The future lies in my hand, and I hope that you all choose to be actors of Africa's future. That's the message I wanted to share with you all today. And I hope that this inspires you to take your destiny and the destiny of the African continent into your hands.
Wow. Wow. What a message. What a message. What a message. Let it be my co-organizer and co-partner in crime. Do you have anything to?
I just want to say thank you so much. And that message, it speaks to my heart because it's so true. It is absolutely true. We have to be actors. We have to get a seat at the table. And the only way to get a seat at the table is that we have to make ourselves seen, and we have to become actors on the stage of this world. African youths are the next generation of leaders. And we have to start now to equip them. So your message is wonderful. I thank you so much for it. Now, what are the African youths going to do with this message? That is my questions to the African youths.
Yes, let it be. You are so right. I want to thank our keynote speaker. I've been dragging him from one meeting to another,
Does he have time for some questions from the panelists?
Yeah, he probably, anybody from the panelists have a question for our keynote speaker, please?
Raise your hands or let me know and I'll unmute you.
DJ Lawva.
Okay, go ahead.
And then let's take two questions, DJ Lawva and then Noblin.
You're on mute, DJ.
No.
Yeah, first of all, I would like to say a big thank you to Mr. Arrey Obenson, and it's very, very, very inspirational, the message you just passed through. It's not much of a question, but much just to reiterate on what he said. And one thing that captivates me so much is that you mentioned something about I am Africa's biggest opportunity. And I think that's the one thing we've been missing. We always look to the outside world to solve our problems. And that has been the issue. We are always reliable. The world is African country now, we have our independence, but it seems as if we are still dependent on our colonial masters to make things work for us. And trust me, I think this word, I am Africa's biggest opportunity, should be a word that we should share to all African youths. Because if we see ourselves as we are the opportunities to make things happen, I think it's going to be easy for us to make sure by 2030, we're able to make sure we're able to achieve all these SDG goals. I want to say you've inspired me so much, and I think I'm thinking now of how I'm going to be the biggest opportunity for my country, Sierra Leone. Thank you.
Wow. Wonderful. Okay, let me unmute.
Yeah, Noblin has a question.
Go ahead.
Hi, thank you so much. That was an incredible speech that you had there. And I think everyone kind of know what I was about to ask. I have a very great passion for healthcare, and not just because I'm being biased, because that's my field. But you did mention something that struck me, and I think this is one of the things that happen to us because we look at things from the bigger perspective of things as opposed to breaking it down for easier achievement. You did mention that you just don't want to talk about healthcare, but you want to build a big medical infrastructure. Do you think, in your own opinion, that is actually the problem of the healthcare system in Africa in general? Do you think it's all about the infrastructure?
Yes, thank you very much. So I really want to focus a lot on the mindset of our people, the mindset of Africans, to have the ability to think differently. And by thinking differently, you find solutions. So I have had the unique opportunity to travel extensively around the world. And one of the things that I've noticed is that people who have strived, that countries or economies that have strived, have been those that have been focused a lot on identifying the root causes of problems and developing solutions around those root causes. So take, for example, malaria, something that I've worked a lot on Africa. Many people do not know that malaria kills more people in Africa than HIV, AIDS, and accidents and cancer combined. If you go to hospitals and ask what percentage of their daily consultations are malaria driven, they will tell you about 80% in Africa, right? Here's the thing. We have trained architects. We have trained people, builders. We have trained carpenters to build houses, to build beds and things like that. But they have not done so in the context of the environment in which we live in. What do I mean by that? We know that if the biggest challenge that we face as a society, disease-wise, is malaria, then everything that we should do should be responding to that need, meaning that when the Germans came to Cameroon, when they built houses with tall roofs. Why? Because mosquitoes thrive in limited space. So the darker the room is, the more likely it is to attract mosquitoes, okay? So they build houses with nets on them. They build houses with air moving through them and putting nets to prevent mosquitoes from coming in. They built beds with posts so that you could hang a mosquito net over it. They responded to the evil ills in our society. Then we had independence and we forgot about those things. Like we are not, even our educated architects who have the knowledge of architecture, that architecture should be designed to respond to the environmental needs of the place in which you're building. They're not responding to that. So we have to change the mindset. It is the mindset change that will inform the infrastructure that we develop. And the easiest thing about healthcare, easiest, even till today, and it will be till the future, is that prevention is better than cure. So if you build a healthcare system that is prevention oriented, right, then lots of the diseases that we face in Africa, we can actually overcome them without the massive investment that we are making into healthcare. That's one. So it, for me, is mindset oriented towards the solution. And once you can figure that out, infrastructure can come true. But the answers rest within each one of us. We are just not asking the right questions, and we're not looking at the right people for the answers to the problems.
Thank you so much. I think you kind of reorient and reshape what I wanted to hear, because I feel like it's beyond the infrastructure. It's about the mindset. It's about creating awareness. It's about our culture in particular, about, you know, the spiritual thing and the herbal thing. So there's a lot to factor in than just an infrastructure. Thank you so much for reshaping that. I appreciate it.
And thank you so much, Noblin. Thank you so much, DJ Lawva, all the way from Freetown. It's been wonderful again. Our keynote speaker, we cannot thank you enough. This message is what will resonate from the banks of the streets of Arrey back to Maputo, so we can all again re-energize and believe that the most single factor in liberating us is our mindset and the will to win. Thank you so much. Any more questions? Thank you so much. Any other question before we move ahead to our keynote speaker? Before we move ahead, we can take one more question.
If you know, let me know.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move ahead then. Again, it's a pleasure for all you, our panelists. We appreciate you. We understand some of you are going through challenges in technology back in Africa, but for you to be here and listening to us, it is very, very important. Our next question is going to go to Fatoumatou Dahaba from the Gambia. Almost 60% of African population in 2019 was under the age of 25. It is clear that if the youth of Africa do not engage in sustainable agricultural practices, Africa will forever remain dependent, even on basic food items for its existence. I see you have an agro-food processor company or initiative. Do you think it's time for the African youth to roll off their sleeve and get involved in agriculture? And how is it going in the Gambia?
Thank you very much. And I'm so sorry that people could not see me because of my camera. It is very important for youth in Africa to engage in agriculture. It is very, very important because agriculture contributes to national income, and we all know that it is a key. Every nation needs an income, and it is a source of food supply as well. And then I would say supply of raw materials to agro-based industry, and which is I am so passionate about, and I'm doing my best in that category. For agro-food process to be sustained, as we are talking about sustainable development, agriculture have to be standard. You should have a lot of agriculture products at the market for agro-based industry to move forward. And next one, I would say it's a source of our foreign exchange. Agriculture is a source of foreign exchange to countries. And I would say the youth particularly should involve in agriculture because it brings foreign exchange. The buying and the selling, we are engaging to bring the foreign exchange. And then it is a source of employment as well. Agriculture is not something that we say it is for the poor people. Agriculture is for everyone, and anyone can participate into agriculture and then get the opportunity to employ themselves and then employ other people. And here in my country, we have people who are involved into food processing, agro-based industry, I can say agro-based industry, but it is not that much because we are lacking so many things. That is the testing standards and then the technical know-how as well. The technical know-how, it is limited as well. And then the market for agro-based industry also, it is limited. So if youths in the Gambia, I can see 3/4 of them are involved into agriculture, then our nation will move forward to another standard as well. So it is very, very important for youths in the Gambia, especially in the Gambia, since we have the land, we have water. The youth should come back to agriculture. Agriculture is not something that you would say, let me just go and then to work with.
Okay, Ms. Dahaba.
Did we lose her?
Okay, looks like we lost Ms. Dahaba there.
Yes.
Great, that's great. Is Assumpta with us? Is Assumpta with us?
Let me unmute her mic.
Hello.
Yeah, hi Assumpta, how are you doing?
Are you guys getting me?
Oh, Fatima.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I am back. Yeah. It is a technical.
Okay, so no problem, Fatoumatou. We understand you're going through some technical difficulties. We got your message.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
okay.
we got your message, but I want to ask you one question, and I want you to give me a yes or a no answer. Do you think the youths in the Gambia are doing enough to involve in food production?
No.
Okay, thank you. So we all agree much needs to be done in this domain.
Exactly.
Yeah. So thank you so much.
Exactly. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We'll be coming back to you. Let's move on now to Assumpta in Nigeria. Assumpta, we're going to talk about SDG number 2, zero hunger. I understand you have a food catering or processing business where you try to encourage youths like yourself to get into the idea that you don't only have to depend on the government, you can do it your own. You left the university, but still you're doing some kind of a restaurant and employing yourself and employing your family members and some of your peers. My question to you is, in 2019, Nigeria imported rice to the tune of $1.5 billion US. Nigeria has about 800 million of arable land where it can plant rice to feed its population. Now, do you think the government or the civil society, are they doing enough to encourage the youths to get into agriculture? And if they're doing so, how are they doing so? Thank you.
Okay, hello, good evening, good morning, or good afternoon. Okay, I'm grateful for being on this platform. Yeah, the Nigerian government, they are trying their best, but I don't think their best is good enough because we have so many lands that could be used for agriculture, but yet they are not being used. I think if the government can equip the youth or help the youth with all with all they need for farming and all that, the youth will go a long way in the farming business and agriculture. And on the other hand, the youth are not showing interest. Like they see farming and agriculture as a dirty business, like it's not for them. So if the youth could also show interest in farming, it would also be lovely, because all the youth need, all they think now is white collar jobs and everything. Like the youth in Nigeria, they want the white collar jobs where they'll be sitting down, receiving ACs. No one is thinking about agriculture right now, but that's not the way forward. If youth could just calm down, go into agriculture, they'll find out that agriculture pays more than the white collar jobs. But the youth in Nigeria now, they don't look into that. They all want the white collar jobs. Government could also equip us very well, give us more training concerning agriculture, rice production, and the rest. And with that, I think we'll go a long way. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We all agree that's a problem across the African youth, and that's why we're having this debate today about African youth, to also tell the youth that we must get involved in agriculture so we can stop depending on foreign food to feed our people. So thank you for that input, all from Nigeria, and I hope God bless you with your initiative. I'm going to go back to Noblin. Noblin, I would like you to talk to us a little bit about your SDG 3 Global Health Initiative. And I learned it's affiliated with UNESCO Center for Peace. Can you talk to the panelists a little bit about that?
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
So SDG 3 Global Health Initiative, we implement the SDG 3 that was one of the SDGs that was established by the United Nations in 2015, which was signed and adopted by 193 countries. So what we do is to, we believe that every single SDG is very, very important. But we also believe that, I'm not trying to give priority over one, but I just believe that health, once you're healthy, you're able to accomplish anything. And most of the time, the countries that do well economically and otherwise are countries that are, that have great and healthy citizens. So I feel like of all the 17 SDGs, I feel like the SDG 3, which is the promotion of good health and well-being, is the most important one, because if you are hungry, it's also gonna be like, oh, you have to fall sick. If you are not healthy, you won't be able to go to school. That would be the last thing on your mind. If you are not healthy, you won't be thinking about climate change. And I feel like climate change and healthiness in terms of the environment, public health, are integrated and they have so much to do in common. So what we do, we have our objectives to be able to break down and promote the good health and well-being. We have objectives and aims in our organization. The first is to be able to create awareness. I, for sure, believe that when someone is knowledgeable about something, they know how to get about it, which is our guest speaker, when he was talking, he did say, I just don't want to talk about healthcare. I want to be able to build infrastructure. And I wanted him to reshape and reform what he meant. And he did. And that was incredible, because you have to change the mindset of people. You have to change the culture, the environment. Everything plays a role. And the most important thing about everything playing a role is creating awareness. So in this, we do create awareness about health, communicable and non-communicable diseases. My organization, we started our first health awareness educational workshop. And today we did the first one, and it was on diabetes, because this month is the Diabetes Awareness Month. The 14th of November was the World Day Global Diabetes Awareness Day. And you realize that a lot of people don't know much about diabetes. They don't even know that diabetes kills more than HIV and AIDS. Diabetes kills more than tuberculosis. Oh, and the reason why people don't know this is because we don't create awareness. There are so many things going on in the world in terms of health that we do not realize. We don't realize that the environment we live in has a great role to play in our health. So we believe that when you start talking about all of this and putting it right in front of people and talk about it, people are more knowledgeable as opposed to believing whatever they believe in. You know, they get to reshape and reform the mind of people to get to know more about that which they are not knowledgeable about. Secondly, what we do is that we believe that we are not just going to be on the other side of the world and telling the people in Africa or other developing continents what to do. We actually extend our hands of help by organizing and setting up medical mission, which is why I love the fact that Frank asked the question he asked me the first time about people going to medical missions and just coming back after 2 weeks or 3 weeks and things continue to be the way they are. I personally, in my organization, we just don't go for medical missions. We try to keep that communication with people back home. So podiatry is what I'm focused, a foot surgeon, foot and ankle surgeon. And with this morning in our awareness workshop, people were saying, oh, we see the importance of having, you know, not just orthopedics in Africa, but also like podiatrists, people that actually are going to be integrating medicine. Medicine is not just about one aspect of, you know, of your health. The integral human being, everything about you, your environment, the public health, everything has to come together. So we just don't talk about it on the other side of the world. We go there and not just go there and help and come back after 2 weeks. We keep the consistency. We try to follow up on the people that we saw during our time of medical mission. We try to reach out to the local government, the state government, and the federal government to make sure that they also organize annual or a weekly or bi-weekly you know, educational training for medical practitioners as well as the audiences in the community. Another thing we do is that we also train the youth. We believe again that the youth are the integral citizens of every community. So we train the young youth using the platform of the UNESCO Center for Peace. We train the youth to be health advocates by, you know, teaching them on the essential healthcare skills like checking blood pressure, sugar level, CPR, and some other things, so they can be able to implement it in their community. And finally, we do partner with international and national healthcare organizations as well as healthcare institutes.
Thank you so much, Noblin. And one of the things I would love for you to do, Noblin, is to be able to connect with all the other panelists, because some of the things you're saying, I hope, will not be useful only in Nigeria. I know it may be needed in Sierra Leone, maybe needed in the Gambia. So we want you to be able to connect with the panelists and see how you can use your same framework and have some of our panelists see how they can implement that locally. Because like you say, health is wealth. And our biggest problem in the continent, besides leadership, I think it's health as well.
Sorry to cut you off because someone is on my door, but we don't only, our team consists of different people from different, we have representatives around the world. I mean, few countries are not yet here with us, but we have South Africa, we have Uganda, we have Botswana, and so many other countries. So yeah.
So please make sure you share your link on our forum so everybody can see that. So thank you so much. Next, Mrs. Khanu, are you there? Admiral Khanu, are you there?
Yes, everyone. We are now approaching 16 after the hour, so we're going to try to get everyone on and take some questions and answer so we can wrap up.
Great, Lady B. Thank you so much for keeping on the watch on the time. It's Miss Khanu. Are you there? Admiral Khanu, are you there? I think she has to unmute herself. Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I'm going to go to you. SDG 5. It talks about gender equality. And I'm asking you this question because you are the CEO of Young Women and Girls Network. Two things I want you to answer. I was very happy when I realized that the president of Sierra Leone overturned the law which says if a boy gets a girl pregnant, the girl is dismissed from school and the boy stays in school. Secondly, the Hands of Our Girls campaign. Do you think these two initiatives are doing enough to address the issue of gender equality, which I think is one of the most social issues in Sierra Leone?
Good evening, everyone. And thank you very much for asking the question. Well, the first one, my answer is no. Hands of Our Girls is not doing enough to address the problem of gender equality in Sierra Leone. Because let me say, the last time when I checked out, we have so many victims out there who their cases are taken to court, but because of maybe party A and party B having money, especially when the victim is not having money and the person that do the abuse has money, the case will just die off. So when the First Lady launched Hands of Our Girls, like for me, I was so happy because I thought that it's an initiative that will change our lives, especially the women and girls in Sierra Leone. Because when you watch back, young girls have faced a lot of abuse in Sierra Leone. And that was because even our parents were not aware, because I always tell people that even the parents can also sell their young girls out there to early child marriage and also child trafficking. And in Sierra Leone, we can see that our First Lady is working hand in hand with the United States so that they can be able to tackle this gender equality when it comes to sexual and rape and other sexual exploitation. But present, what I'm seeing and what my organization is working when I go for interview, when I go out there to ask young girls who are facing these things, they're telling me that the real victims are not given the opportunity. Like if they have been raped or when they are facing this abuse, they will just close the cases. They will not take the cases to the court. And even if they take them to court, the court will not sit to them because of their parents are poor. And it's also, I told them that it is because of poverty. They will say, yeah, maybe it's because of poverty. So the government is doing their own, and at the same time, they are not doing their level best. Because when you watch, gender equality is too much when it comes to girls and young women in Sierra Leone. And also when the evil practices that is happening, like that FGM, they'll take a child underage and take her to, like our culture, they call it Bondo society, and that child is not too matured to go through the process. She will be killed doing the process. And those are the things that we are trying to stop at least. And with working with the First Lady agenda, we think that if she come out and talk to young people who are really facing the violence, who are really the victim, I think these things will stop. But as long as she's doing it with her own hands, like she's involving people really, but she's not involved in the real source. You understand? Like for my own community, we are having a lot of sexual abuse, domestic violence. They will be telling me that, Admire, this is what my husband did to me. I'm so tiny. Some of these married women will come to me and they will be talking to me that, Admire, this is what my husband has done to me. I'll tell them to go to the police. They said they will not go to the police because when they reach to the police, it's just like, they will just tell them that if you don't have money, I don't think your case will pass through. So those are the things that government has to tackle first, compromise. But when it comes to girls and women in Sierra Leone, why we suffer a lot, because some of these cases are being compromised from the onset, talking about taking out the case to the police station. Some of this police, they compromise the stuff just because of money. And even the victim that has been abused, they are not able, because when you are a rape victim, you're psychologically and you emotionally, you need those centers which they will be able to at least counsel kids who have been raped or abused, but there is no platform. In fact, there is no platform on that. So in the case that you ask if first the president is doing their best, they are not doing their best, because I've never seen any center. It's only Rainbow Center that when a child is raped, she will be admitted and given treatment. In that case, not every child will have the access to come to freedom, because we have villages, we have people who have been abused in the depth of the villages who don't even know freedom.
So
they have to build a center.
Thank you, Admire. Let's leave the government on one side. What are you doing? What is your organization doing to solve the problem that the government cannot solve?
Okay, now presently we are working on awareness project. What we're doing is to make all these young people and women aware that they have the right, that when they are abused, they have to go to court, even if they don't have money. Let them go to court and see to their cases. That is why I always said the government needs to provide lawyers for these people. Not everybody can afford to be able to take a lawyer, because lawyers, some people, they're so expensive. So we need those people, we need those lawyers that can take these cases, you know. That is why when they launched the Sexual Offences Act, they have launched that if you raped, you go 15 years imprisonment, that is for life. And my organization in our community, we're trying as hard to sensitize these people to know how and when to tackle these things, so that they will be able to know what's actually the problem behind this rape and sexual exploitation, especially when it comes back to our mothers, because some of them have been abused. This domestic violence, talking about it, everything in Sierra Leone comes to young women and girls. Is very difficult for them to be able to share their story. So it's very difficult for us also to be able to communicate to these people, unless we have to come down to their shoes. Some of them won't even explain to us what is really happening, unless you have to tell them, like, you have to put yourself into their shoe. So some of them can explain their problems and what they face.
And thank you so much, Admire. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I wanted us to be clear that, you know, this platform is also not about seeing what the government has not done, but what we as citizens, we as young people in Africa, what we can also do to change the narrative. Thank you so much, Admire. Lady B, any input before we go to some last? Oh, I see DJ Lawva, you have something to say?
Unmute yourself.
Yeah, unmute yourself, Lawva.
Yeah. I
unmute, Lawva, unmute.
Okay, hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Arma was trying to make some points. I think to a certain extent she has some facts there, but I think also, as you mentioned, Franco, we're not looking on what government is only doing. And for now in Sierra Leone, I think we have the awareness about sexual abuse, and I think now we have organizations that are helping, not only Rainbow. I think we can count on the Asma James Foundation. They're doing so much. They have this Girl Plus program. And also there is, in terms of law, there is an organization which they call themselves lawyers, that they're giving free services, as it's only left with victims. As long as you go to them, they give free services if you have a case regarding child abuse, women abuse, all these things. So the one thing that we keep pointing out is we're not going to look only what government's doing. Like you asked the question to admire what our organization, I think they're doing pretty much a good thing, but also there are other organizations right now in Sierra Leone that they're doing so much. Right now, we all could attest that there is these 16 days of activism that is going on. And even the government, the Ministry of Social Welfare, they've even set up an emergency line, a toll-free line. If you have some of these cases, you just have to call those numbers. And the director at the Ministry of Gender recently in a statement made that they've had over 69,000 calls when people are reporting. And before, Admire could agree with me, it was not possible to get this information. But now I think people are coming out, and the more these cases are out, I think the more the government will be able to know that they need to put preference on those kind of things.
Thank you so much, DJ Lawva, for that for that injection. This has been incredible. Gender equality, Lady B, you agree with me, is one of the foremost important aspects when it comes to underdevelopment in sub-Saharan Africa.
Yes,
you agree with me on that?
Yes, it is. It's one of my goals. It's one of the goals that I advocate for, especially girl-child education, because I believe that educated girls become better women and they make better decisions as women. And then they're able to educate their children, and they're educated and protected the girl child. So what she said was actually right. It goes back to the mother. If the mother has suffered abuse, she's more likely to allow her daughter to be abused, or do an early marriage, or do the GM circumcision. So definitely, if we start with the girl child education and start educating them from young, then as they grow, they will make better decisions. So definitely gender equality along with education is something that I'm an advocate for. And I'm very happy and proud to see that you guys are taking this and, bringing it into your country as a forefront and having a discussion. That is the most important thing, that we have to have the discussion. And this discussion is very important, and it has to happen. I see Truman has his hands up, and if he has something to say, just go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yeah, go ahead, Truman.
Hello, man. Hello, guys. Okay, so I wanted to talk about the youth in Africa. The reason why the youth are failing or struggling is because they also need the government to empower them, because on their own we can try to do the things that we think they are going to work. Yes, we are going to achieve to a certain capacity or a level, but the government needs also to support the youth in any way which they need the support. Let's take, for example, youth who are in farming or in agriculture. The youth, they don't have the collateral security which is needed by the banks for them to access credit lines. But the government must make provisions for the youth to have access to those credit lines, because the youth on their own, they cannot have the necessary or the required collateral securities by the banks. What is needed is for the government to have projects or the programs which are going to help the youth so that we can alleviate poverty. That's one thing that I think governments across Africa needs to do, because not a single government in Africa is supporting the youth, right? So if the youth are not empowered enough, they cannot achieve what they want to achieve to full capacity, because they don't have the necessary tools or the equipment, right? The youth in Africa right now, they don't have land. If they want to be in farming, they don't have the land, because the land has already been distributed or has been taken by the older generation or the older people, and the youth, they don't have it. And we expect Africa to be great. We expect the youth to be productive. So
thank you so much, Mr. Marinda. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Marinda, for that input. Thank you for that input. We always say youth innovation and creativity is a conduit of positive institutions. The government needs to provide the framework that can sustain these ideas. You can have the best of the ideas. If you do not have the space to execute this idea, you will not be able to go anywhere. I'm going to move to Hadi, back to Imo State. I'm going back to Hadi in Imo State. Mr. Hadi, are we on?
Yeah, I am on. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you so much. Mr. Hadi, we have seen...
Okay, what I want to ask...
Okay. No.
Okay,
I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you a question.
Okay.
Mr. Hadi, we have seen China in the last 30 years being able to uplift about 800 million youths, and China has now become the manufacturing destination of the world. They did this through changing their educational system. Heavy investments in technical and tertiary education is what has saved China today. My question to you, Hadi, Nigeria is the most populous Black nation on earth. Do you think it is time to change the educational curriculum in Nigeria to be more pragmatic and more technical?
All right, thank you, Franco. The question was exactly the point I wanted to make earlier. I wanted to say that education is the mother of all SDGs, because if you have to tell people about SDG, it has to be through education. If you have to stop inequality, if you have to stop poverty, stop hunger, encourage people to indulge in agriculture, it has to be through education. So education is the mother of all SDGs, even when it is not the first one. Now, coming to the question you asked, when you look at China, what they did, China did youth development. They had youth development programs. Development is about expression, giving people opportunity. Hey, what do you have? Bring it to the table. Okay, so that is what they do over there. And you see people expressing themselves. In that case, you see someone building a car, you see someone manufacturing tires, you see someone doing something. Unfortunately, to say, in my state today, a governor was proud to roll out cages filled with rabbits as empowerment program. So it's funny. Now, everybody in that group has to be rabbit farmer. Even when you want to create mobile apps, you have to be forced to go into rabbit farming, because that is what they want you to do. So my point is, Nigeria, as the most populous Black nation, is not doing enough. There is one simple thing I say, if people who set educational curriculum could just act like dummies, and what I say dummies do during exam is they copy answer from textbook to pass exam. Okay, USA, China, they are doing well. And you know your educational curriculum is trash. Why don't you scrap yours, copy their own, achieve the success they have seen? But we say we are smart, we cannot do that. And we keep doing the wrong thing all the time, expecting a different result. I schooled in Nigeria, and I know what it means when you attend a common seminar abroad. Sometimes you feel very bad with the kind of education you've gotten, knowing that what you are learning in a simple summit or a seminar abroad, it's bigger than what you have learned for 4 years in school.
That's true. That's true.
Now, that is very bad. So if Africa as a whole can use simple copy and paste method, people abroad, people succeeding, how are they doing all these things? How are they doing it? If their schools are equipped, what is stopping us from equipping ours? If their teachers are teaching a certain curriculum, what is stopping us from scrapping the ones we have and bringing in the ones they have? I mean, these things are simple, but we can't do it. Okay? When we watch Hollywood movies, you see a governor of New York, you see the children of the governor schooling in New York. But in Nigeria, a governor in Nigeria has his kids in New York. So if these schools if the educational system you are administering is good enough, why are your kids not here? So this is the problem. And at the end of the day, we end up having people who bring in their kids who have schooled abroad and make them feel superior to people who have schooled in Nigeria. And the people who schooled abroad look superior and take over from their parents who probably schooled abroad as well. So the point there is, education as the mother of all SDGs, we are not paying attention to it. If we invest hugely in education, I feel we will go a long way in achieving other SDGs. And another thing I wanted to add is, I feel like the circle of life, it's about all of us holding hands till the circle is complete. And each time women are excluded, we always have acts and never a circle. So as long as, and gender inequality, as long as we keep excluding women, as long as we don't give women opportunity to complete that circle of life, the world will keep being the way it is. Africa especially will keep being the way it is. Imagine if the ideas that will change Africa are in the head of women. and we are not giving them an opportunity to thrive in Africa. That means
so much,
Africa
Hadi.
will remain underdeveloped.
Thank you so much, Hadi. Thank you so much, Hadi. Thank you so much, Hadi.
This is how I see this. On my own side, I've tried to do something about 2 years ago. I did what we call Diva Stage Tour. For the first time in my state, we had a concert that had only female artists, female comedians, female DJ, female dancers. The only males that came on stage that day, they only came to fix instruments and they went down. No male performed. And after that program, the ordinary girls who just tried, okay, I love to be a DJ. I said, okay, play. Today, all of them are DJs doing well. Some of the people who got the opportunity to perform on stage that day as comedians are doing well as female comedians. These opportunities are not coming to women. But if we understand that women complete the circle of life and we give them that opportunity, I think they will go a long way in changing the way we live. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Educated women raise a better nation.
Raise a better nation. Strong, strong women, strong community. And while I had it, while you were talking, Noblin asked a question, but I'm going to have DJ Lawva answer first, and then I'm also going to have Marius answer second. Here is the question Noblin asked. Noblin said on the chat, can she ever be president of Nigeria? This is a woman who has achieved so much success in the United States of America, but she still feels like in Africa, in her country of birth, she will not have that opportunity for her to be able to give back what she has learned so far in the West. So DJ Lawva, my first question to you, DJ Lawva.
Yes, yeah, go ahead.
Do you think that in Sierra Leone, for example, there exist opportunities? Do you think the government is making way for youth advocacy, for the youth to be able to seek political power and actually participate in the transformation process in Sierra Leone?
Yes, I think the government is giving the opportunities to youth to involved in political matters and even taking political appointments. We could see from the last government, we have a reasonable amount of youth holding ministerial position, being head of parastatals. And again, the present government right now is also doing, and as I mentioned earlier in my opening statement, they've even created a whole commission for youth, which in my own understanding, they're doing a good job. The only thing, as I mentioned earlier, is and I think one of my colleagues mentioned earlier, the governments need to their own parts. They need to play their own parts, because if even the youths are willing to take some of these responsibilities, if the atmosphere, if the governments are not providing the space, the source for us, the youth, to be able to make use of, it's going to be hard for us. For example, we have most aged and elderly people occupying key positions in the government rather than giving those positions to youth. So for me, if I want to assess, let's say it's like a 70-30 thing for in Sierra Leone case, like there is opportunity for like 30% of the youth to bring themselves forward and do things so that they could be seen. But one thing, if the playing field, the ground is not made accessible to the youth, we will not be able to make our voice heard. Before, they used to say the youths are the leaders of tomorrow, but now we disagree with that. The youths are the leaders of today, because we can't be leaders of tomorrow if we don't learn how to be leaders today. Anything you do, you have to have the learning, you have to go through the process. So what I'm saying, and I'm saying this directly to the government here in Sierra Leone, I think they need to give opportunities, if not like ministerial position, but maybe deputy position to most of youthful, so that you can understudy, and maybe within years, if that particular minister is out of retirement or anything, he will be replaced by a youth who have gone through the process and have understand every bit of the ministry or whatever position is coming to assume. But to be direct with your own question, I think the governments are trying, but they need to do more to give opportunities to youth in Sierra Leone so that we can be able to do more than we are doing right now.
Thank you, thank you, DJ Lawva. The government is trying. They need to do more to create the space for the youth to be able to express themselves in terms of their constituency and gain the experience that they need. We no longer talk of youths of tomorrow, our future leaders of tomorrow. Youths are leaders of today. I'm going to move now. Marius, you can see from recent elections in the Ivory Coast, where Ouattara was able to change the constitution and for another term to get in office. Move over to Guinea-Conakry. Alpha Conde was able to do the same thing, change the constitution, despite the amount of youths that got killed. They don't care. He is in power. I also moved down to Tanzania, where there was massive repression of the opposition leaders. My question to you, Marius, what do you think the youth should be doing at the grassroots level in order for them to be able to participate in the political process?
Already, I'm sorry for have gone too early. It was network problem. Okay. Déjà, je vais faire comprendre que le problème qui se passe d'abord, c'est ce qu'on appelle le self-interest. Yes. Plusieurs personnes passent leur temps à prendre de l'intérêt sur eux-mêmes. Surtout nos présidents, nos gouverneurs, ils ne regardent pas les autres. Ils font comme si les jeunes n'existaient pas. Mais alors que ce sont les jeunes qui sont la lance de la nation. Youths are just like the fire under the pot. If you have a content inside the pot and there's no fire, the content will not be consumable. So youths are just like the fire. So I think youths also have to implement themselves inside the government. Because youths usually think that politics is for elderly people.
For older people, yes.
Yes. So youths also have a role to play inside the government. We first have to remove that how will I say, that idea that we cannot do anything inside the government, that there are only people that are landed, that schooled abroad, that can do something. In our own level, we will try to see how we can put a committee of youth that will also participate in political affairs. And that is a role that the diaspora or the SDG also has to play, implementing them.
Please, Hadi, please mute yourself, Hadi. Hadi, please mute yourself. Oh, Lady B, can you please mute Hadi? Go ahead.
So I think that in our own side as youths, we have to put a committee to see how we can also involve ourselves inside politics. It's not only for elderly people. Now, for instance, in Cameroon, we have younger députés. Let me just say that. We have younger people.
Yes. Yeah,
I'm muting people.
Oh.
Okay, who is speaking?
Hello. Hello. Yeah, I'm the one speaking. So as I was saying, for instance, here in Cameroon, the constitution is just changed like that and nobody can say anything because we are usually used to that when the president says something, nobody says something. And it's the same thing everywhere in Africa. So I think youths have to implement themselves inside politics if they really want that things should work well for Africans. Thank you. Hello.
Franco, you're muted. Franco? Did we lose him?
Yeah, I think we lost him.
Yeah, we lost him.
Yeah,
go ahead.
He just went out.
Lawva.
Yeah, I think Marius made Marius made a very, very important point there. With the youth, because at times you have to take the bull by the horn. We can't be sitting down all the time waiting for the opportunity be given to us. I think we need to take the opportunity ourselves. Bobby Wine did now Bobby Wine is even going for the presidency. So I think again, with the youths, at times we sit back and wait for the opportunities to come and meet us, rather than we going out there to meet the opportunity. I think I agree with Marius that we should be going out there now, make ourselves known, make our presence felt in whatever we're doing, so at least we can gain the recognition. It's like now, I think the situation we are in now, it's whether they like it or not, we have to be there. But how can we make that happen? We can't sit in our houses. We can't be waiting, okay, let's wait for government opportunities. Let the government say, okay. Most of these things, governments do have these policies, but it's only on paper. And we ourselves need to make those policies a reality. Most youths in most African countries don't even have a sense of their youth policies. They don't even know that they are not even aware. And that brings me to what Harry was saying. Education, it's a very, very key point. We need to be educated, because if you don't know about something, you can't do anything about it. We need to, first of all, know what's in for us. And if we have that education, we have that knowledge, I think then we'll be able to go and get what belongs to us.
Okay. Anyone else have any final thoughts before we start wrapping up? It's way over time. I do apologize for that. It seems like it's longer. I'm gonna yes, who is that? Oh, there you are, Franco. Are you back?
Yes. This has been an exciting debate, I'm telling you. Despite this has been an exciting debate. I am so proud of this panel, Lady B. What do you have to say?
Yes, most definitely I am. It's just heartwarming. I think we picked the right teens this time, and it's just, it's very exciting, and I can't wait to watch it. You know, I'm here maneuvering, doing all of the technical stuff. So I definitely can't wait to go to Facebook and sit down and really watch and listen to everyone. And we had lots of comments on Facebook. I'm trying to keep up with the comments on Facebook, and
lots of comments. I am very happy with these panels, because on one hand, there is the balance between the need to innovate, and there's also the balance between the need to realize what we have to give ourselves as our own contribution, be it social, economic, political. I am very proud. So
this is something that we are going to present to the African Union and all the embassies here in the United States and all of the houses that we have in New York. So this is going to go a long way in giving African youth the voice that they need to accomplish. Like I say, be the biggest opportunity that Africa has to offer.
Oh, wow. That's a take home today, right?
That's the take home.
Yeah, sure. The biggest opportunity. And like we say, to remind our panelists, the outcome of this roundtables, we will, myself and Lady B, we have been creating opportunities and to meet with the African Union, to meet with some of the permanent missions of some African countries and embassies here. We can give them a position paper and say, look, this is what the youth of your country are saying. This is how, because most often, some of the embassies and the African Union will say, oh, the youths are not engaging. How can we engage the youth? So this is how we can engage the youth. This is what the youth is telling you. This is what we need. And this is how you as the AU, you as the Sierra Leone ambassador, you as the ambassador from Guinea, you as the ambassador from Cameroon, you as the Nigerian ambassador, you as the ambassador from Zimbabwe, Harare, here are the things that
Yes. When we go to the United Nations, it's not enough youths there. I noticed that from my visits to the United Nations and some of the missions and some of the embassies here in the US, there's no representations of youth. Everyone is older. I mean, 60, 70, sometimes they're, 50, and the youth have no voice.
Thank you.
So this is one of the reasons why this is so important.
Great. So right now, Lady B, before we wrap up, everyone is going to have an opportunity, 2 to 3 minutes. I'm going to ask a question, and I'll give everybody an opportunity to chime in on that question as we wrap up this session. Here's my question. Every year, leaders from different African countries, they convene in New York for the United Nations General Assembly meeting. They are all mandated to bring with them their country report. They call it the SDGs report card. Critics of the Sustainable Development Goals have said that most countries in Africa bring reports to the United Nations that they don't even know what are in those reports because they fail to engage the local actors who are the entrepreneurs in their country. They never talk to them, they never listen to them, but each year they carry big report of about 200 pages and take it to the United Nations. So my question to you, do you think that the UN has to put more pressure on African governments to be able to engage the local entrepreneurs if we are to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals? I'm going to start with Mr. Sulayman. You go ahead. And then after Sulayman, I'm going to have DJ Lawva go. And then I'm going to have Noblin go.
Sulayman, unmute yourself. If you're there, let us know. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, DJ Lawva, go ahead.
Yes, I think for Sierra Leone, the governments, most governments, as Bonghan Frank just mentioned, in fact, they are not even part of the process of preparing these reports. They take usually to the United Nations. And if you even ask some of the ones that present in those documents, they are not even au fait with what's in the document. And that brings us back to a very important thing that Hadi was making mention of: education. Because how can you ask, for example, you are in a house and you have electricity problem and you're asking a doctor to come and take care of that? We're putting square pegs on round holes. Like you mentioned earlier on, Lady B, if you go into the United Nations, if these governments are going to the United Nations and they're going to present a scorecard on the SDGs, I think it's a must for them to make sure each sector is represented in preparing that scorecard in the first place. If you want to go and present something about what you've achieved about youth, you should give the youth the opportunities to prepare that document. And if possible, make sure that statement is being presented by a youth when you're presenting that to the United Nations, which I think most African countries are not doing. They will go in their offices, prepare whatever they want to prepare on behalf of people, for example, with special reference to the youth. I think some of my colleagues here can attest with me that most of the things that they are presenting to the outside world, especially the United Nations, on behalf of youths, are not being prepared, are not the voices of the youth. Even general developments that comes to Africa, you would say an international organization, go to a village, they say, okay, we want to come and do water and sanitation. But without even, in fact, check if that's what that particular village needs. Maybe they need a different thing, but you want to give them what you think you can offer. And that's the big problem. So I think government needs to be involving people in the different sector, whether it's about female, whether it's about youth, whether about education or agriculture. Make sure you involve the specific people in preparing these SDGs reports that you do present to United Nations. So United Nations Assembly would have a clear understanding about what is the achievement and what is the problem. Because most times the problem they present are not the problem the actual beneficiaries are facing. So it's like a misconception. They give that, okay, the youths they need fishing tools. In fact, that country you check, it might not be a flourishing country in fishing. So I think my advice and what I would think that the government needs to be doing, involve individual beneficiaries in making in these SDGs projects.
Thank you so much, DJ Lawva. Let's hear from Marius. After Marius, we'll hear from Hadi.
Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Okay. I really think that question just made me to laugh because I never heard about the SDG before learning the Learn Teach SDG organized by Lady B. Bless Humanitarian Foundation and the Bright Light Project. That is why I learned about the SDG. I never knew about it. Meaning, if the government was really carrying documents for to the UN and doing what they were supposed to do, all the youths and the population was normally going to be aware of the SDG. Because normally SDG has to pass through medias to make everybody to know that that is what the government is doing. So I think that what Mr. Lawva said, youths are not the one saying that we need this, we have done this, we have done that. They are just doing what we call filling up their formalities. So the government is not really taking care of us. They are not doing what they were supposed to do. So every year when they go there, they all know what they are doing there. They are not doing something for us. So it's time that youths implement themselves inside the government to see how Africa will grow. We can be educated, we can have diplomas, but when we don't have jobs, it means nothing. We need jobs. We need to also hold the hands of the people that are coming. There is a class of people outside there that the government neglects too much. Orphans. You know, orphans are just there. They are non-governmental organizations that are taking care of orphans. Why governments also had to do something, but they are not doing nothing. So I think it's time for us. It's time for the youth to really take the bull by the horns and make things go ahead with Africa. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marius. That was very insightful. So
yeah, and I must say, let me say one thing. Marius he has actually organized classes in Cameroon and has graduated up to 20 students of the SDGs. So that's very commendable.
Thank you, Marius. Thank you. I like the fact that you are not only talking, but you are actually taking action. Yes. And that is what we say. Let's African youth entrepreneurs and socialpreneurs, let's meet and talk and see how we can harness and leverage ourselves. Thank you so much. So Hadi, how are you going to go? After Hadi, I'm going to have Admire, and then after Admire, we'll have Noblin. Go ahead, Hadi.
Okay, to start, I think I've been involved with some colleagues of mine. We were involved in world largest lessons, teaching more than 300 students in SDGs, helping them set goals for themselves, taking interest in different goals, saying, okay, this is where I will find the problem to solve and all that. Now, going to governments in Africa, going over to UN Assembly to submit whatever report they submit. And I want to assure you, whatever thing they put in there are actually authentic. They were actually put together by human beings, but the wrong human beings. Now, one thing in Africa is hunger. The first thing in SDG, hunger is a tool. You have people like DJ Lawva doing things in his country, and he expects that when government wants to make policies, that people like him will be called. DJ Lawva, nobody's going to call you. They are going to find people who are hungry, who will need to take some change and say yes to everything they want to say. And those people will help them say yes, sign documents, and they prepare the reports they are taking to UN to say it's a person who has been involved in SDG programs for both families, for and for students in children, school children. I understand how these things work. And another thing I say is in Africa, if the conditions of living a good life are not there, the only thing you can do for people is survival program, not developmental program. So whatever you call youth development in Africa for now is youth survival. Like you said, getting people fishing boats is for them to survive, not for them to develop. They are hungry, it's for them to survive. But when you talk about China, like Franco mentioned, China, they have electricity, they have good road, and somebody saying, hey, everybody wants to develop, what do you have? Bring it. Now, that's development. Everybody has the right to express themselves. But even someone who wants to go into farming is given a fishing boat to go and fish. It's not what you want, but you are told to survive first. After survival, we can talk about development. So, because our government, what they are doing at the moment is they are just trying to help you survive. Until you put down basic amenities like electricity, good water, quality education, good healthcare, good road network. If you put down a grant of social amount for people who want to do something, come take this grant with the nation. Else, if you don't have electricity, you don't have good road, good network. If you give people grants, they will use it to feed themselves and their family.
Yes.
Now, this is what most times they go to the wrong people. So my own point is the documents you see are fraudulently prepared, not by the people who are supposed to prepare them, but they are actually prepared by people. But funny enough, most of the people who carry these documents, they don't even know what SDG stands to achieve. Thank you.
Thank you.
And if anyone wants the report, I do have it, the video presentation at the United Nations this September. Just put it in the WhatsApp group and I'll be able to forward it to you guys so you can see what your representative presented this September at the United Nations.
Exactly. Admire, okay. What do you have to say, Admire, about every year your country report being taken to the United Nations about the progress of the sustainable development goal? What do you have to say about that, Admire?
Good evening once again. Okay, sorry, you can't see my face because we don't have light. There is no electricity for now.
See?
Okay, well, first of all,
it's the same year.
First of all, well, I'm very happy. I thank you guys very much for including us, especially Sierra Leone, because I always said youth are considered only when there is a political, when they have their own politics. That is the time they include us, the youth. So you're talking about 17 sustainable development goals. I never knew that the government, but because they are not including us. So for them to just sit, they only have the platform where they will take the things, they will sit and write on behalf of us. They don't know what.
Yeah, it looks like we are losing Admire there. Yes.
These are the things that we are definitely discussing that needs to
change. Need their writing income. I believe that as Marius has come together and we should speak with one voice, these people will stop using us because presently they are using us. they're writing things behalf of us. We don't even know. Maybe I need water, they're writing for rice, or somebody else need rice, they're writing for water. So those are things that we the youth need to stop. So let's change the map for them any longer. Let's in politics also, with or without their own concepts, because they believe that they owned us. They can use us when they want, and we have to tell them that we owned ourselves and we have the right to make our own decisions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Admire. Thank you so much. Let's move to Fatoumatou Dahaba from the Gambia. Fatoumatou, what do you have to say about the SDG scorecard report every year that's been presented to the United Nations from Gambia? What do you have to say?
She's on her phone and a computer. She needs to unmute. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'm here. For me, when I was here, I would just say that the youth have to stand up for themselves. The youth should really know what is SDG all about. If they don't know, they will not. Are you guys hearing me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you guys hearing me? Yeah. So for me, I would say the youth have to stand for themselves. The youth themselves, they should know what SDG is all about. So many people, like here in Gambia, a lot of people don't know about the SDG reports because we have never heard it at the news or at the radios. So people have to know what is SDG all about. From there, they engage the government. We have to engage the government. We have to ask questions. How far? But if at all the youth are relaxing, then the government would just vote whatever they want. But the youth themselves should ask questions. They should stand for themselves. We should own our voice now. If at all we really want to know more about the report, African youths have to hold accountable their government. We have to hold them accountable. If not, we will not know what is going on. So for me, even the report, I had it here. It is last September. So many things are going like this and we don't know it. We have to inject the government. That means that we have to involve in politics. Youths have to involve in politics for them to know what is really going on their nation. If they are not involved in politics, they will not know anything. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Fatoumatou. That was really great input. Noblin, are you still with us? Can we hear from you, Noblin?
Yes, I'm still here. So I think I can't even believe that somebody actually have a report for Nigeria. The thing
is, yes, they do.
The thing is, who is at in Africa, most of the problems we have has a foundation about who is accountable for what, and do we also hold this person or these people accountable? During the NSAS problem in Nigeria, a lot of people were attacking the president, and I kept asking people. There is some extent to the president, to what he can do. And I think the problem that we people have is that we forget that there are people who are representing us at the federal level, there are people who are representing us in the state level, and there are people who are representing us in the local level. And the thing is that we always jump these people to reach out to the president. Meanwhile, there is someone in your community who is supposed to be held responsible for not doing his or her jobs. You have a local government chairman, you have your representative of your constituency to the state and the federal. The thing is, whoever that is making this report, putting this report and taking it to the SDGs, does the person know the people who or she is representing? And do the people who or she is representing know that this is the person or these are the people who are making this report? And also, does the people or the person making this report know that, have a knowledge that, okay, these people that I'm representing and putting these reports together, they actually know what SDG is. It's funny that someone here just said, I don't know anything about SDG until this platform opened my eyes. Ridiculously, somebody put a report together on his behalf to the UN. The problem is we have to start holding people accountable, our leaders, and not just the governors or the presidents, but the leaders in our community. Every single one of us have a community leader. For goodness sake, we don't have to dump those people. Every single time we jump and overlook them, they keep the federal government, for instance, in Nigeria. I speak out of experience. I come out from a political family. My family somehow is in the politics in Nigeria. I have a brother who represents my constituency to the federal, right? The funny thing is that money is allocated. I don't know any of you have been to Nigeria. I'm from Abia State. Money every year, money is allocated for that particular city, which happens to be one of the popular cities in Nigeria because it used to have this popular market. But the funny thing is, I always use this example because I have an experience about it, is that every single year, money is brought out and given to my brother and everyone else who represent their constituency. The thing is, do they actually use and utilize that money for their community? But the problem is that people who are coming out, the youth and every single one who is coming out to fight is always jumping those people and directly going to the president. There's little they can do. There is a responsibility allocated to someone or to some people who are responsible for putting this SDG report. Do we even know who is responsible for this? Just like some of us don't even know our community leaders. And right. Because of that, we don't hold them accountable because we don't know who they are. We don't know what they look like. So the problem is we have to start creating this awareness. We want to know, because I was born and raised in Nigeria. I just came out from Nigeria like 8 years ago. I'm fresh out of the city. I'm fresh out of the country. But I know that before I left Nigeria, there's somebody or some people that has still that are putting these reports to the UN. I don't know who this person is. I don't even know what he or she looks like. If it's a group of people, I don't know who they are. And I bet you, and I kid you not, that these people have little or no knowledge about SDGs.
Right.
Thank you so much, Admira.
So we have to start holding people accountable and not just talking and talking and talking. And the only way we can hold them responsible is to be able to know who they are. So who is putting the report together? The person didn't even interview me. Basically, they just went inside their office and put something. And I also think that United Nations, as big as it is, should also, you have these organizations that are working close to United Nations, yeah? And some of these organizations are coming from different countries like Nigeria, and Senegal, all this Cameroon, all these countries. You have organizations that are working close to them. They're registered under the UN. I think it's about time that UN do not only talk to the government of these countries, but the people who are representing the citizens of this country in different organizations.
Thank you so much,
yes.
Noblin. Thank you so much, Noblin. That was a wonderful insight. Let's go to Assumpta. Assumpta, are you there?
Yes. Good evening. I'm here.
Okay, good. We'd like to hear your input on this last question.
Okay. I feel the youth should be involved concerning the SDGs, because they are reluctant about the whole stuff. They feel if the government doesn't do anything, who are we to do something? Which is not so. At least they should make some moves before the government can intervene and say, okay, these people are serious, let's hear what they have to say, let's listen to them and all that. Okay. At some point, I was happy because of the whole NSAS stuff. At least for the first time in Nigeria, the youth were able to stand and say, this is what we want. And to some extent, the government heard them and said, okay, let's listen to them. If they're serious, fine. If they're not serious, we'll continue with what we are doing. So the youth should be able to stand for themselves, say what they want. And if the government can come in, they will come in, not just leaving everything for the government. So that's what I feel about this whole stuff. You should stand for what they want.
Thank you so much, Assumpta. Thank you so much. Marinda from Arrey, what do you have to say about the...
I'm sorry, can I make a remark?
Yes.
I think most of the times we state the youth. Something happened during the NSAS period, and we always refer to the NSAS because it just happened recently, that there became a certain group of youth who were used by the same government officials to disrupt the peaceful protests. These are also youth, but the only thing they needed were food and money. And because of how the economic system is structured, that's all they need to survive. So I feel like we have to bring it down to the level that the youth to understand, and that's where the education comes in. And when you educate a man in their native language, they tend to understand. But when you educate a man in English, and especially if they're illiterate, they don't understand. I feel like it has to come to a point where we have to let our brothers and sisters who are not exposed, let them understand that the government is using us. Only if we fight for just more than food, we will be able to accomplish more goals, you know.
Thank you. And Noblin, I think that goes back to what Hadi said. Hadi said, what happens in Africa, it is youth survival and not youth development. So you hit the point. Let's go to Mr. Marinda. What do you have to say real quick about the SDGs annual report from Zimbabwe that's presented every year to the United Nations?
I think the youth needs to be given an opportunity, and the youth needs to be supported. That's one thing that I think for us to attain this, the youth needs to be empowered enough. And then the youth needs to take positions, because without the power, you cannot implement anything. So the youth also needs to have the power to be in positions where they can take the decision. They can make decisions for themselves and then implement their ideas. And there is this other thing that I see across Africa, like what my other colleague was saying, that people, they always point to the president. They don't point to those who make the laws. There are people who make the laws. There is the parliament. That's where laws are made. But people always run to point the president as if the president is the one who makes all the laws. That's one thing that has been done, that Africans or across the world, even in America anyway, people, they point the president. They don't point the people who are responsible, who need to take the responsibility. So what I think is the problem in Africa, it's very difficult for it to end, because the people we see today condemning corruption, I think it's not because they hate corruption. They're waiting for their opportunity to become corrupt. That's what I think. Honestly, like a lot of people who condemn the bad things today, it's only because they are not in the position to do the same thing like those people are doing, who they are blaming. And I think other young leaders across Africa, they give the youth no option but to follow the old rules or what has been condemned, because on their own, they are clowns. So we have this thing of, we don't have real people who are signed up for the job to do the right thing. They are only there to get themselves paid. So if we have enough education to educate Africans about being Africans and the importance of being patriotic, I think we might move to another level, because I think and I see that a lot of youths, they don't hate corruption. They only need to be in the position where they can become corrupt, or they can do the same thing or worse. That's what I think.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Do we still have Mr. Sulayman? Is Mr. Sulayman still with us?
I see him, but I don't know if he's still
Yes.
there. Yes, okay, there you go.
Yes, let's hear from you, Mr. Sulayman. Go ahead.
Say, yes, like I said, I've been listening, and I must say, I've been equally learning. just like what we've said altogether, this is a responsibility that comes across all sectors. I think the government has a responsibility to fulfill a mandate that they owe to the citizens. And I think young people are part of this citizenry. So the government should ensure that they support youth, regardless of our different African countries. The youth are indispensable assets that governments cannot afford to lose. We must prepare them today to be efficient leaders tomorrow. If we continue to move with the notion that young people are future leaders, they will not be empowered today. And in the event that they are not empowered today, that is sending a signal of a future that is not going to be sustainable. And that is what these sustainable development goals seek to achieve. We want to ensure that through our own efforts across our different countries, to ensure that our lives are improved, women are empowered, access to education is also attained. And I forgot to mention, I'm also a stakeholder when it comes to education, because like I'm professionally a teacher, I teach. And in the discussion, people talk about the curriculum. That is a challenge even for the Gambia in particular. Curriculums in Africa need to be revisited and then, improvements need to be, inflicted on them. Otherwise, we are not going anywhere. Our curriculums are problems. They are not teaching us to be innovative.
Yeah, Mr. Darboe, are you still there? Okay. So it looked like we lost Mr.
Another victim.
The victim. So let it be. This has been a wonderful. I know we are already gone past the hour. Let's conclude so people can we can relax and have to watch.
Yes, and and I must say that I'm so glad. I'm so happy to be part of this wonderful event. It is more like a platform meant to help me to be developed. And I believe with the deliberations that my fellow speakers have made here, that is efficient and enough for me to have something to say on a different platform of this nature. So thank you very much for giving us the opportunity. I've been very, very involved in also trying to sensitize people about SDGs because of the training that I went to by the Lady B. Bless Foundation. So I want to also urge you people to keep up the momentum, the hard work, and ensure that the
Great. So
I want DJ Lava's internet. Where are you? How is your internet so stable?
Your internet is something else.
I'm at the office. So and we our radio station is online, so we are fully on 24-hour internet.
Wow, that's amazing.
That is really good. That is really
good. We're enjoying the fiber.
Oh wow.
So from the bottom of our heart, on behalf of the 4th African Youth Sustainable Roundtable Discussions, it has been an impeccable event. Each of you have invoked that African spirit. Yes, we know we don't have, but we know we can achieve more, even with the little that we do not have.
Yes.
That is the African mantra. I will get Lady B to say something to our panelists, and then I'll come back and close the event.
I'm really proud, I must say, and I'm really anxious for our 5th annual Sustainable Development Goal and Youth Roundtable, and we will keep following up. Definitely, this is not the end. This is just the beginning, because you guys, your voices are very strong, and your voices need to be heard. So definitely, I thank you, the Lady Be Blessed Humanitarian Foundation. Thank you very much for being a part of this roundtable discussion, for lending us your voice. Oh, who is that? I want to laugh too. I thank you guys very much. We do apologize for the glitch in the beginning, and we do apologize for going over an hour into your time. We know it's late where you are, so I would definitely say thank you for all the great panelists. I do want you guys to keep in touch. You know how to get in touch with me. You know how to get in touch with Franco, and be a part of this event as we move forward. Help us plan it. It's just Franco and I. As you see, we are trying our best. So if anyone wants to come and give us a hand, we will not say no. We will not say no. We will definitely like this to go further and get all the help we can to make it bigger. The next one is January 30th.
January 30th.
Yes. So if anyone wants to help us, we are here. We will take it.
So one of the critics of the Sustainable Development Goals is that it is too bureaucratic and it lacks the integration of local content. I guess our biggest challenge moving forward as youths in Africa, how can we localize the SDGs so that the farmer in Luanda, Angola, who goes to fish in his farm can understand that his fish can mean something more in Morocco and actually be compensated for that fish. Not that a company come from Morocco and get the fish for free, and when the sardine come back to the farmer in Luanda, he's buying the sardine at cutthroat prices. How can we localize the SDGs?
Yes, and that's definitely one of our challenge.
You all are champions of the SDGs, but the SDGs does not evolve in a vacuum. It can only evolve when we have the right institutions that can provide us with the space through which the youth can harness their voices and actually make positive contribution in the transformative process in Africa. How come that the continent with the highest youth population, the continent with the most mineral resources, the continent with the highest capital, human capital, is yet the poorest country? We must be able to work not just for today, not just for tomorrow, but for the future and for the future of other generations to come. DJ Lawva said, youths are not the leaders of tomorrow, youths are the leaders of today. And I will close with a word from our Barrister Arrey, who said, we are all Africa's best assets. Let's go, champions, let's go win, let's go win, let's make Africa great again. Thank you so much. I close the 4th edition of the African Youth and Sustainable Development Platform, and we hope that we can continue to connect and network and harness the power of our creativity and our ingenuity. Thank you so much, Lady. Be blessed. I can never thank you enough. Without you, I'm handicapped.
Thank you.
I doubt that you're handicapped, Franco.
Before the event, I was struggling here. But thank you.
We expect your program in Nigeria very soon.
Thank you. Thank you. May God bless you all. May God bless you all. DJ Lawva, may God bless you. Mr. Truman, may God bless you. Assumpta, may God bless you. Fatoumatou, may God bless you. Hadi, may God bless you. Marius, may God bless you. Admire, may God bless you. And may God bless Lady, be blessed, the Empress. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you guys. I'm very honored.
Thank you. Yeah.
Everyone have a lovely evening. We appreciate your time. Once again, we are closing this session. Please look forward to our next session, July 30th, same time, same bat channel, right here. African Youths and Sustainable Development Roundtable.
January 30th.
Oh, January 30th?
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Thank
Cheers.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.